Oh man, that was the most. Yo, I'm not even gonna cap. I'm not even gonna cap. I just had. There we go. I just had like a little before I press record. I just, I just had a little kumbaya moment with myself, or like I was just kind of deep in thought, right? Because I like, I like, this. I like podcasting, right? Uh, but for the past, I don't know, couple weekends, I've been chronically online. And let me tell you, man, let me tell you, social media, they don't, God, they don't care. Um, they don't care what you trying to do with your life. They really don't. They really don't. So on my fault, I'm trying to pull up this the sound effect. But no, they don't care what you're trying to do with your life. So I had a little kumbaya moment. I'm like, bro, like what am I doing right now? Sometimes I have to ask myself. I'm only 11 episodes in, so that's why I can chill out on it. Um, but I was like, yo, what am I actually? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm really trying to find this thing for whatever reason. Yeah, there it is. There it is. This is what we gonna. This is what we gonna go with. Trying to find this. Yeah. All right. So yeah, I just had a little moment to myself. Had to get my mind back into the realm of you gotta sit here for an hour and talk. Cause when things aren't lining up to where you think you should be, right? And I do that myself. Like even in my personal life, even in my career, right? When I'm not where I think I should be, I tend to talk myself down and be like, yo, what are you even doing right now? But somehow, right, I find a way, I find a glimmer of hope to like I find a piece, right? A piece of reality that just gets me back into the game, gets my confidence back up, and gets me smiling again. You feel me? So, sorry. Let me. There we go. There we go. Ay, 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 ay. But with that being said, welcome back, my baby, to another episode of the Your Story Podcast. Let me not shake the table. I'm sorry. To the Your Story Podcast with Roddy J. Salter. You already know. Hopefully, it does it right this time. But y'all already know what time it is. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. All right, you ready? Y'all ready? Cue the applause track. Millie Rock on the beat. This is a long sound. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. God dang, that's a long ass applause, huh? They want to give a standing ovation to your boy. Now welcome back though. This is episode 11, episode 11. Episode 11 from is it episodio 11 for my Spanish speaking Latinx people out there. Yeah, episode 11. I just wanted to recap really quick before I dive into what I need to dive into. Hey, I'm kind of proud of the topics this time. But yeah, so just a quick recap. Filling up here as I said before, as I you know talked about. Oh, I'm sorry. Backtrack, backtrack before I get into the. I can't scratch this. God. Um, if you haven't already, right, take a moment, right, look at me. Let me get in frame. Take a moment. Pause the video. If you're on YouTube, there's a couple buttons you need to press. One's called the like button. You feel me? The other's called the subscribe button, right? And then way over, I think it's somewhere over in this region, right? Somewhere over in this region, there is a bell. Nice little bell. It does a little jingle when you hit it. Hit that for me. So you can see it dance. See it twerk. You feel me? Make that bell booty shake. You feel me? Just do it for your boy. Make the like button tingle. Make the subscribe button vibrate. Make the bell shake. Make the bell twerk. If you're on Spotify, I hope this is coming in good. I hope you love the sultry sound of my soothing voice. You feel me? Leave a rating. You feel me? 5 stars is preferable. But honestly, like I said in last episode, I just want to know that thing works. So leave some type of rating. If you can comment. I believe there's a poll up. I'm going to try and edit that poll as well. I ain't been on the polls recently, but I'm going to edit the poll now because I got it pulled up. So I got you on a new poll. But interact with your boy. You feel me? Interact, my baby. What else is there to do? If you're on social media, what else is there to do but interact? I don't understand people. I get it. If you're on social media, you're kind of just there to scroll, get your fill of dopamine for the day, and then move on. I get it. I understand. You know, not everybody wants to interact. I'm one of those people. I only ever interact when I feel compelled to. You know, I don't comment. I like the hell out of some videos. I don't comment. I don't hop in nobody's lives. I don't do none of that. Like, I barely show up to the Twitch streams when Berleezy, uploads. Look, I'm sorry, I'm not the interactive fan, but I can be. I don't post on Twitter, right? I'm not the interactive social media person. Not as much as I need to be, right? Or not as much as I like to be, So, I'm learning. And this past week, like I said, I was chronically online. It got your boy in a tizzy, but we move. So, but yeah, just to recap the week, filling up here. Now we're feeling, it's crazy to be in frame. I'm filling up here, but in reality, like this is kind of like, oh, you're capped out at your head. So it's like you're only no. Like if this was the ground, I'm like with the clouds. You feel me? Like that's where my energy is, right? Mainly because I just been chilling, kicking back, letting life kind of wash over me, type shit. Trying to understand the value that I want to bring to the social media world, I guess. That's also, I was chronically online, kind of like trying to improve my skills, because I was like, yo, you're 10 episodes in, it's time to start like really pushing into this thing. So with that, right, some ways that people kind of improve their podcast, they get better cameras, bro. I'm still operating. Look, I'm poor, all right? I'm poor. I still haven't ate. Don't judge me. Somebody at my job the other day was like, they was looking, I was eating lunch. I wanted to stick, bro. But he was like, that's a small phone. Nigga, fuck you. I don't know you. Why you in my pockets, boy? Why you all up in my pussy, boy? Like, bro, move around. Look, I'll get another phone when until this one stops recording, calling, texting, and I'm not able to watch videos no more. That's when I upgrade. Until then, man, it does exactly what I needed to do, bro. I'm not tripping off no new phone. That's just me. I'm not materialistic like that. Move around, bro. But no, we're filling up here, Filling up here. Hope y'all's Monday is going great. Hope y'all's weekend was swell, And let's get into the episode. First things first. That is not it. I am very sorry. I was like, yo, that's... Where is she? You gotta be kidding me. Trying to pull up this episode. I literally just wrote it. I kind of remember what's going on off the top of my head. Anyways, first things first, right? Story time. So, I'm 22? If you're, honestly, it doesn't even matter what age you are, because I'm pretty sure everybody's gone through this. at some point in life, we go through a stage in our like grade school age range, like it's like what 10, 11, 12, 13, right? That like age group where you just for me myself, you just find a girl you really like. It could be at school. It's usually in the neighborhood. For me, the girl I liked. So when I was growing up, right, living in Dallas, I was middle school age, right. There was this one girl. I'm not gonna say her name, but there was this one girl, right, who lived in my neighborhood. I didn't find out she lived in my neighborhood until like weeks after. But she went to my school, right? I saw her on the bus one morning, and I was like, "Who is Sade? Who is Shawty?" So I'm like, I gotta get to know this girl, right? But I didn't know that she was in my neighborhood. So I was like, look, I don't go up to nobody. Well, I didn't go up, like, now I don't. I don't go up to not a single soul. Back then, I had, like, a tiny amount of riz. So I was a little bit more confident in myself. I had a tiny amount of riz, right? So I'm like, I'm not spitting game, but I'm like, trying to talk to her type beat. And I'm like, what's going on? My name's, I only went by my middle name, right? Josh. So I was like, that's what the J stands for. I was like, what's going on? My name's Josh, you going to the same school as me? What grade you went to? We're in middle school, bro. So there's not much I can really talk about. So I'm trying to lay down my foundation of I want to get to know you, right? I'm trying to lay down that foundation, right? But she's not going. So I'm like, dang, not much I can do, right? So, like I said, I didn't find out she was going to, because I only ever saw her rarely, like, because I was always late to the bus. I don't know why. I just always was. So my mom had to take me everywhere. So I was always late to the bus. So I didn't find out she lived in my apartments until, like, weeks after, right? So fast forward, right, to when I found out she lives in my apartments, I'm like, oh, we really offered it. I can actually see her, right? So I'm like, oh, so I go up to her. I caught the bus. So that the day after I found out she or like, within the same time frame that I found out she lived in my apartment, I caught the bus early. I was there. I was probably the first person there, right? So I was like, I need to talk to this girl, right? So I'm like, oh, so she comes up, right? I'm chilling, I'm giddy. Not giddy, I've always been like real like suave and cool, right? Not cool, but like chill, I don't really make it seem like that. But I was like, oh, I know I at least know she's coming to this morning, right? So I'm chilling, waiting for the bus. She rolls through. And I'm like, oh. But by this point, we had built a rapport, right? So I'm not just going up as some like weird nigga, right? I'm going up as somebody who she knows, right? So by this point, we had built a rapport, and I'm like, oh, so when was you gonna tell your boy that you lived in the neighborhood? She was like, yeah, I live in there. She didn't tell me where she lived, but she was like, yeah, I live, this is my abode. I was like, all right, cool. So we get on the bus, right? Get on the bus, go to school, have our little school day, be out. So I'm like, let me walk you home, right? Not walk her home, but like, I was not walking nobody home, bro. I was walking them to my street, and then once we got to my street, dip. You feel me? So we're walking, right? We're walking, talking. She talking to me about school, obviously, because we're in middle school, bro. What else are we gonna talk about? She talking to me about school. She told me she had a boyfriend, and I was like, that's neither here nor there to me, but that's neither here nor there. I didn't know her boyfriend, but I had seen who she was. I had seen who she was dealing with. So again, I was like, that's neither here nor there to me. She told me, Grace, she was in a above Grace. And I love the older women. So anyways, we're talking, right, laughing, giggling. I'm walking her. Again, I'm not walking her home. We just happen to be going the same place. I found out what like apartment building she was in. She told me, right? Um, I wasn't on no stalker bullshit. Hell no. But she ended up telling me like the apartment building she lived in. I was like, all right, cool. I live, this way, so I'm gonna walk you that far, and then I'm gonna dip, right? So we're walking, talking, hug, embrace. We have a warm embrace, and then I dip. This then becomes a everyday thing, right? Every time. Not like in the morning, you're on your own. But after school, guess who walking you home? So I'm walking her home, every day. And now I think about, I'm like, bro, you were so deep in the friend zone. You were so deep in the friend zone. You didn't know what to do. You didn't know who to turn to, right? So I'm walking her home every day, talking. We talk less and less about her fuck ass boyfriend. Talk less and less about him. Talk more and more about him. I was like, what's going on with me and you? Long story short, nothing ever came of me and her. But man, you couldn't tell me, bro. I damn near loved it her. You couldn't tell me she wasn't the baddest. She was a little white spice. She was a little white ting. She was bad. She was bad. For my middle school mind, she was bad. Don't know what she looked like now. Don't care. Not my business. But for my middle school mind, she was everything. But I say that story to that's a preface to this story, right? So like I said, there comes a time in every person's life, right, where you have like a middle school crush, middle school puppy love type thing, right? That was mine. That was one of mine. But that was the main one, right? I say that now to say, I tell you that story to say this. I'm in the neighborhood that I live in right now. I'm watching that unfold. I'm not watching it unfold. I just like when I come home, there are these two neighborhood kids, right? These two neighborhood kids who, little boy and little girl, right? Who every time I get home from work, they're always with you. It's only ever them two. They're always playing together, right? They come up with new dangerous shit, low key. Like, I'm now realizing kids are reckless. Kids are reckless with their lives. They be doing some dangerous shit. But it be looking fun though. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure we did some of that when I was growing up. So I'm like, man, they're more or less, what's it called? What is it called? Igniting my like childlike imagination again and childlike wonder. Cause like seeing them, right, kind of just be kids and have fun. But it's just, like I said, it's just them two, right? And so the other day, right, they were playing like on some chair. They were playing, they have this, they're usually playing on like this hill, or like this, like street hill. And so they're usually like riding down that. But so anyways, they were playing on some like desk chair. And they were like riding down it. And then, so I'm like, oh, they're having fun. They're doing reckless shit, hoorah. But again, I've been seeing them every day that I come home from work. Right now that I work the morning shift, every day that I come home from work, they're always there. So I'm kind of like inadvertently watching this relationship develop, this friendship develop, right? And so I'm like, for whatever reason. Like after I get home from work, I kind of just chill, bro. Like I need to have a moment to myself, right? So I'm watching them, right? Looking at what they're doing. They're having fun. So I'm like, bet. And then his homegirl leaves. And I just see the most, buddy, I saw him do the most sunken head, bro. His heart, I don't know if she went inside, I don't know what happened. But it just looked like his heart broke into a million pieces. He did the low hanging. I was like, oh, I felt for him. I really did. I felt for him. I was like, man, because again, I've been watching, so I'm like, man, I can only assume. I'm just like, bro, I know how it is, man. I understand, bro. You going through it right now. You don't understand. You just like, yo, I really feel this girl. Hey, I get it, bro. Because his head, when I say when she left, his head went. I was like, his head was like, you know how plants and animation, or like plants and like SpongeBob, they just be wilting and dying. That's exactly what his head did, bro. Bro just, I was like, damn. Middle school puppy love, man. Middle school puppy love. But yeah, that's the little neighborhood kids, man. Neighborhood kids. But they're always having fun, and they're always cracking up, blowing raspberries. I'm like, you know what? Childlike wonder, man. I love seeing like kids just be kids. You know, I thought after COVID, I really thought that was gone. You know, because I didn't see no children out. Like nobody playing. You know, the street lights was on and everything. So I'm like, ain't nobody playing, ain't nobody having fun, ain't nobody riding scooters down the hill. I was just like, man. But I guess we're back to normal. So we move. Okay, so introduce my other topic, right? Or my next topic. If you're a DC fan in the slightest, right? If you're a DC fan in the slightest, you may or may not care about this news, because honestly, DC don't have much going for them, right? But I will say this: my favorite like DC related show is on the CW. So the CW channel has like, they have mainly all the DC shows, right? All the good ones, right? Arrow, they have Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, Batgirl, and The Flash. Now, if you've been keeping up, right, with anything DC related, right, then you know that Grant Gustin, aka The Flash, is no more. Bro hasn't died. But The Flash TV show on the CW, unfortunately, it is over. Unfortunately, it's over. And, hold on. So I'm like, you need some light over you. So yeah, it's over. The Flash is over. They just stopped production. You know, they wrapped up their last season. Season 9, 10, I think. I don't know. Here's the thing. I love the Flash series. I do. You know, when I first was watching like CW and DC shows, that was the first one I picked up. I picked up that before I picked up Arrow. Actually, I've never picked up Arrow now that I think about it. But that was the first one that I picked up, right? Because I personally loved, like, the Flash is probably, after Batman, the Flash is like my second favorite DC hero. So, excuse me, picked up the Flash, and I watched it for like the first 4 seasons with, you know, the Reverse Flash is in season 1, and then you have I think Zoom is in season 2, and then what the god Galtrix? No, I don't know what bro's name. Savitar. Yeah, Savitar. In season 3, and then season 4 was like norm. So I watched up until I want to say the Crisis of Infinite Earths. That's when I stopped watching, right? After that season, I completely dropped The Flash because stuff just wasn't making sense anymore. Like, stuff just wasn't making, like, after Flashpoint, nothing really was making sense. Because, bro, if you don't know about the Flash, Flashpoint is basically, if you don't know about the Flash, like, lore, I guess you could say. Flashpoint is basically when Buddy went back in time to save his mom, saved his mom, went to what he thought was his present, and messed up the entire timeline, right? For a whole bunch of people, right? So, excuse me. After that point, I was like, I can't watch this anymore. After that point, after bro in the show, after bro went into the Speed Force and then got out of the Speed Force and was talking gibberish and using hieroglyphics, and I was done with the show, right? But I have a certain attachment to the Flash because I literally watched that like faithfully, religiously. Every time a new episode dropped, I was on it. So I'm like, it's a bittersweetness to it, you know? I'm glad that it ended because they couldn't pump out no more. They was trying to be Grey's Anatomy with it. Stop while you're ahead, bro. Stop. So I'm glad that it ended, you know, at least on a good note, but I'm kind of sad that it ended because it's like, I really wish I'm sad that it ended because it's a great show, right? I'm happy that it ended because it was the latter seasons were bad. But I wish that every season, like Attack on Titan, I wish that every season was a banger, bro. I really do. Because then I'd only be sad that it's ending. Then I'd only be sad that it's ending. And then I might be inclined to rewatch it again. I have no inclination to rewatch The Flash. It has zero rewatch value. The first 4 seasons, yes, peak storytelling. Even though it's the same shit. But those first 3-4 seasons are good. 3-4, maybe even 5-6 seasons, right, are good. After that, miss me, bro, miss me. But shout out to Grant Gustin. You feel me? You're my Flash. I don't know what Ezra Miller is on. I really don't. I don't know what bro's on. The people at DC Studios, they don't care what bro is on. He is whooping people ass. They don't care. They just put Amber Heard back on. They don't care. They need actors, bro. They trying to come from Marvel. That'll probably never. I don't know. Marvel moving. I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3 yet, but Marvel moving. They moving shoddy, you know, because it's like Quantumanium was. Multiverse of Madness. So no. No. And I went to go see both of those movies, and Black Panther was awesome. Awesome. Alright? You feel me? And it's not just because it's for the culture. Even though that plays a very big part in it, you know? But Multiverse of Madness, I was just like, what are we at? It's always been pacing. It's always been pacing. Because as far as the visual element to it, it's good, you know? And as far as like the story that they're trying to tell, it's good. But the pacing is just, for both Quantumanium and Multiverse of Madness, the pacing is just not it. And I really, even in Spider-Man No Way Home, the pacing in that was a little shaky, you know? Because of the Easter eggs and because of the drops, the crossovers that they did, I gave it the benefit of the doubt, right? But even the pacing in that was it needed work. But like I said, The Flash is over, right? Thank you, CW, the Flash production team, Grant Gustin, all the actors involved, right? For giving us 10 seasons of Great storytelling, you know? Thank you. Y'all did y'all's thing. They put out a little like I saw it on Twitter. They put out a little like wrapping up production like clip. It hit me. It hit me right here. It hit me right here. A little bit in here. Had me choked up all in here. Yeah. Yeah. But moving on. Moving on. You know what? I want to get better at transitions. I don't have anything for you. But moving on. I saw on TikTok again this past weekend. I was chronically online. I saw on TikTok, right? And I didn't do much research because I was like, what? But I saw, so to premise it, I saw on TikTok this guy, right? Who he's an older gentleman, right? Older white gentleman. And he was from the States, right? He's from, the U.S., but he lives in Honduras, right? And he was basically given like the rundown of like being a citizen of like another country, specifically the U.S., and then living right in another country, right? So like he was basically going through the rundown of that. And when I tell you, they don't want us to leave, bro. They don't want us to leave. How you gonna... we can't leave. If you're born here, if you're born anywhere, unless you go through like retirement visas and work visas, like the just tedious process of getting certain visas so you can get out of your country and stay in another one, unless you go through that and got the money and time for that, you can't leave where you're born, bro. They don't want you to leave, but they also don't want nobody to come. And if you do come, they want you to fill out all this paperwork. And what are we doing, bro? Why can't I just dip? Why can't I just... Seriously, no, I'm serious. Why can't I just be like, yo, look, America's great. I don't want to be here no more, though. I just don't. I want to go see what them Europeans talking about. I want to go see what my dons in Africa talking about. I want to go see what my dons in Morocco talking about. Africa is the whole country, or whole continent, I'm sorry. I want to go see what my dons, I want to go see what my dons in Asia, in Russia. Maybe not Russia. It's cold as fuck up there. So maybe not Russia. But Russia, Australia, definitely not Australia. Them spiders is big. It's not even the spiders, low-key. It's the snakes that be up in your toilets and the crocodiles that be washing your dishes. That I ain't got time for. See what they talking about. Like, why can't I leave? Why y'all want me... You like what you like something you see, baby? Why you want me to stay so bad? Why I gotta go through this whole paperwork rigmarole? And I'm not even... Like, the crazy part is, you do all this visa stuff, right? Maybe getting a work visa, potentially getting a work visa, potentially getting a retirement visa, or I forgot the different visas. I didn't do much research because I just had the idea, or I just saw the TikTok, right? But you do all this paperwork, right, and consume all this time to get these visas so that you can essentially live in these other countries, right? But you can never be a citizen there. You can never be a citizen there. It's wild. It's really wild. Like, you will, no matter where you go, I'm a natural born U.S. citizen. So this whole chat of like, go back to your country. I can't, bro. What you mean go back? Nigga, I'm from Dallas, Texas. I can go back there. There's nowhere for me to go. Y'all got a birth certificate and Social Security, bro. I can't go nowhere else. I can travel. I can definitely travel there. Maybe stay there for a couple like vacation there. You feel me? Maybe stay there for a couple months, if that. But getting a work visa, I hear, is a tedious process, right? I'm not in school, but if I was, I'd probably do the study. I wanted to do that. Probably do the study abroad approach. But even then, you gotta come back home. They don't want us to leave, but they also don't want y'all to come. So it's like, what are we like? What are we doing? That's my question for the world. What are we doing, bro? Why don't y'all want us to leave? Why can't I just pack my bags and be like, guess where I'm staying for the next life? I'm staying in Japan. I'm staying in Sydney, Australia. I don't know why I keep mentioning Australia like I'm actually. I'm staying in Norway. Like, why can't I just dip and go live there? But also be a citizen. Like, I want their health. Well, I think you can get their health benefits. It's like, it's just. But if one day I decide, hey, this thing in America don't really. There's just more to life, If one day I decide that, if one day I decide that after all this traveling, right? 'Cause I'm gonna be doing a lot of traveling. When I decide after all this traveling that I want to settle down in one of these areas, these quote unquote foreign areas, I guess we're getting a work visa, bro. But I want the option to leave, bro, and then not have to take 11 days, and no. I don't get it. I really don't. Let me leave. Let me pack my bags and be up out of here. God damn it, man. Y'all ain't the best, Let me dip. They want me so bad. They want y'all too. They want y'all so bad. They want y'all to stay here, man. They say you born here, guess where you're staying. Guess where you gonna die. Ridiculous. But that brings me on to my last, because it's skin o'clock. You feel me? But that brings me on to the last topic of today, and that is the think piece corner. That's what I'm gonna call it. The last topic of the day. Well, not the last topic of the day, but whatever. The topic of or where I have random thoughts. It's gonna be called the think piece corner, right? This is my think piece. My think piece is, so for me, and for many people like me, right? I have social anxiety. Meaning, right? Here's what my social anxiety looks like. My social anxiety looks like when I'm walking up the stairs. Don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, don't trip and fall. Not in front of these people. Don't trip and fall, don't fall, don't fall. My social anxiety is don't fall, don't fall. But if you do, falls, breaks neck, or trips, falls, breaks neck. That's my social anxiety. My social anxiety is, I wonder if because I'm silent throughout the day, right? So my social anxiety is, I wonder if my silence, because usually when I'm around people, it's like, I wonder if my silence is, I wonder if said person next to me is thinking about the fact that I'm not talking right now. Or I wonder if said person wants me to say something right now. Or I wonder if this, my social anxiety looks like, I'm going to turn my hat this way so that's nobody talk to me, right? My social anxiety is when I'm in the gym, right? When I'm in the gym, I'm like, don't mess up, don't slam these weights too hard because everybody's looking, right? That's my social anxiety. My social anxiety is all eyes on me. But I realized something. This social anxiety, this whole all eyes on me type chat that I'm talking about, what if it's really just rooted in narcissism. Because who am I? Stick with me. Who am I to think that niggas give a fuck enough about whether I slam these weights or not? Who am I to think that niggas give a fuck? I'm gonna stop cussing. Who am I to think that people care enough, right, about me, right, to where they're concerned, right, or they're thinking about my not talking? Who am I to think that people care enough whether I trip up or down these stairs? I had to come to grips with that. I'm like, bro, there's no way you actually think people give a fuck this. Like, there's no way you actually think people give a fuck. I gotta stop cussing. There's no way you think people actually care this much, right? And here's why. Here's something that kind of like solidified this fact. Well, I had to think, I had to access some core memories, right? But shout out Inside Out. I had to access some core memories, right? But I was thinking, so when I was in college, right, when I first got my skateboard, and I was a scrub at skating, right? Didn't know how to balance for nothing. Me and my college friends were coming from, like, I don't know, IHOP, Chipotle, we were coming from food, right? And so I had my skateboard, right? We're walking and talking, doing new la-di-da-di-da, right? I put my skateboard down. Don't know why. I genuinely, actually no, I was kind of riding it, right? I was like they were walking, but they didn't have their boards, right? So they were walking, and I was more or less like scooting, but I wasn't like full on. If you ever skated, like, I wasn't full on pushing it, right? I wasn't full on skating. I was just more or less like scooting with it, right? But it was under 1 foot, and I'm scooting, with the other one, skating with the other one, but keeping pace with them as they're walking, right? So I'm doing that, and then all of a sudden, again, la-di-da-di-da, all of a sudden the board slips out from under me and I hit my back. I think I hit my head at that point too, right? And for me, when I fall, when you fall, you're embarrassed. But you can only be embarrassment is it's all a mindset thing. You can only be as embarrassed as you let yourself be. So for me, if I fall, I just laugh. Because I'm just like, it's funny. What else are you going to do? You just fell, bro. Laugh. So I'm like, so I fell and I'm laughing, right? And there were people behind us. I'm so glad it wasn't no women, because I'm like, that would have been tragic. That would have been tragic. But again, that's the narcissism, right? Because it's like, who are you to think? They might talk about it. It was some guys behind us, and they kind of checked on me. And they was like, "You good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm straight. Y'all carry on throughout the day." But I'm like, who am I to think that whether it's the guys or whether it was girls, right? They might talk about that literally for like maybe 2 seconds as they're like 10 feet away from us. And then the conversation's dead, bro. After that, they might give a little chuckle, snigger, and chuckle, I don't know. Snicker. They might give a little snicker. They might give a little, little laugh. Talk about it for like, oh, did you see that black guy who just fell on a skateboard? Right? Trying to be Lil Wayne. And then they're on about their day. Like, that's probably the extent of the conversation. If it's some girls, it's probably like, oh, did you see that black guy? Did you? Honestly, it might not even be that. It might just be like, oh, you okay? And then that's the extent of that's the extent of the thought. That's the extent of what they just witnessed, right? Are you okay? And then that's it. They go about their day. So I'm like, who am I to think that people care enough about what I do? I'm a nobody to them. I see thousands, like hundreds of people a day, each with their own stories, each with their own experiences, each with their own thoughts formulating or not formulating. I've just realized some people don't have shit going on up in here. Who am I to think that in the vast majority of people, right, they just thinking about me and what I do or don't do and how I do it or don't do it? Narcissism. It's all about me, right? It's all about me for whatever reason in my head. Man, don't nobody care. Oh my God, no one cares. But yeah, with that being said, look, man, I want to do more fun stuff. I'll end with this. I want to do more fun stuff. I want to bring more fun stuff to this podcast. Not about to bring no games or anything, but I might. Nothing worse. I'm about to have more people because I'm officially getting my space set up. So I'm about to have more people over, right? Or more guests on the podcast. The production value is about to go up because I'm gonna get some lights. I don't have a big light in my living room, but I'm gonna get something because yeah, either that or I'm gonna just have to start using natural light. One of the two. But that's for the coming episodes, right? But the production value is gonna go up. Everything's up from here, right? I just had to align some things, but everything's up from here. We move. I do gotta remember to cut out a certain part. But with that being said, you feel me? With all of that being said, if you made it to the end, thank you. If you did make it to the end, thank you. if you clicked on the video, thank you. Again, there's a like, there's a sub, there's a bell. Make the like shake and jiggle. Make the sub vibrate. Make this bell, wherever it's at on the screen, wherever it's at in your UI, make that boy twerk. Make it twerk. Alright? Look, I need that bell saucing on your phone. You feel me? So, anyways, like and subscribe to the video if you enjoyed it. What's it called? Sorry. This has been another episode of. No, just playing. This has been another episode of the Your Story Podcast with Rodney. Yours truly, Rodney J. Salter. You know what time it is. Cue the music. Oh, hold on. See, one day I'm gonna just have somebody throw flowers at me. That's all they gonna do. They just gonna toss me a flower and I'm gonna catch it with my mouth like Prince Charming. But if you're on Spotify, interact, leave a rating. Thank you. I will see you guys in the next episode. It's really been a treat. It's really been a treat. It's always a treat. But yeah, I'll see you in the next episode. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your week. Do fun things. Let me know what you did over the weekend. I don't know. I be bullshitting. So maybe I'll steal some ideas from y'all. But yeah, bye.